appointment setting and sales, because god damn it, I spoke to a couple guys this weekend, a couple guys from the prospective community, right? And they're getting
Yeah.
really good results with their ads and getting great results for their clients. But a lot of agencies really still can't sell. I mean, we won't talk appointment setting, actually. We'll talk sales specifically today, man. So this is going to be me
Wow.
interviewing you for the best practices, Mr. Rees, one more time.
Yeah. Yeah.
By
Awesome,
the
bro.
way, what you don't know is me and Rees just waffled for like 5-10 minutes, and I pressed the record.
From the get-go. So it's straight to it.
Yes, sir.
Straight
Yes,
to it.
sir. Okay, Rees, I've
Cool.
got 10 questions I want to ask you, bro, and I want to hear your thoughts as our resident sales expert. By the way, Rees doesn't big himself up enough. I have to say this to everyone we speak to, including this organic audience now. Rees is an absolute master of sales, bro. He's so good. He developed the decision tree that we've got, all of the principles that we use for sales now. Obviously, I've got pretty extensive background myself. See his little hair here. Pretty expensive background myself in sales, but when it comes to the art of selling, this is your guy, man. You ready, Rees?
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate the kind words. But yeah, let's go. Rapid question. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I spoke to a chap and he was saying his show rate is great, his lead quality is really good, but he's struggling with like 3, 4, and 5 core closes, even like full proposal type offers and etc. He doesn't have an offer doc, he doesn't have any pre-call systems, and he doesn't really have a templatized pitch. Out of those 3 things, what would be the first thing you'd focus on if you were in his shoes?
Well, does he have clarity around like the offer?
Yeah. So he's oh gosh, he's something for marketing agencies, actually. Yeah, because I read him through the group and he was trying to sell me, right? He's something for marketing agencies. And he's got a good offer. He's got a good landing page and everything. And I can't remember exactly what his offer was, but it's just that he was basically explaining that he doesn't know how to develop his sales process, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I think first of all, if you're a top closer, you don't need any of those, right? Now, if you're an offer owner, right, you might not be the top closer, so you need as many resources, as many things that's gonna make the whole process a lot easier
Yeah.
for you, right? What I've found helpful is creating a pitch deck, right? While you're going through the pitch with the prospects, you can share your screen, share everything. So you can explain it to them and then they can see it, right? Visually as well. So pitch deck is important. I would say offer doc and pitch deck is kind of like similar, just presented differently. So I would say it's important. And then just have well, this might be controversial for some people. Some people say go scriptless and all that kind of stuff, right? A great closer, right? Like if you don't know how to freaking dribble a ball, you can't just go do all kinds of skill, right? You got to master the fundamentals. So I used to be the script guy, relying on a script, right? Get good at it. But now with the decision tree, bro, it's
so much easier.
So much better. So without practice, if you just pull up a decision tree and you have no idea what it is or how it looks like and everything, you're gonna struggle. You need to become familiar with the decision tree and kind of already know 80% of it. The decision tree is just help you navigate through inside the call.
Can we rewind a little bit, because you mentioned something on the pitch deck versus an offer doc versus our one pager. Do you want to pull up our one pager and walk people through it and why it works? So
yeah, let me share the invite, right?
The invite. So for clarity, right?
Well,
one of the things that I was part of Serge Guitar, I forgot what it's called, but before everyone was doing these AI offers, he was doing a global infrastructure offer, right? And I was closing in an agency that was part of that offer, right? So that was really good, actually. I learned so much through that. But one of the things that they stood on, and one of the things that we stand on, is the power of one pages when it comes to sales, because taking someone through a 20-slide pitch deck where they've got questions every other slide, your pitch ends up being 45 minutes long. This, on the other hand, is super cool.
Yeah, and this is what a lot of offer owners do, and I don't blame them, but they share too many information on the call, which just confuses people, right? So you want to have a good balance in terms of sharing the right things and making sure that's just clear and straightforward. You don't want them to have to about a lot
Yeah,
of things.
I've seen has been the biggest contributing factor to what works for us really well. It's
Yeah,
been like, rather than sharing each of the steps, it's sharing the overall logic and the outcome. Does that make sense?
yep,
Because if we, for instance, if we were to put our entire process, everything, into a pitch deck, right? Even if we had all the transformations, the outcomes, and X, Y, Z, we would literally, our pitch would be like an hour long. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's taking the logic behind each step and then kind of putting the process together as well. So yeah, go on, let's walk through this thing, mate.
yeah, yeah. So basically, like if you look here in this screen, right? So like we just make it super clear and we tie it to the outcome, right? So here, two important outcomes: book more calls, make more sales. Simple,
Yeah,
right? And there we go. This is something that I actually learned from you, Jacob, and it's been like we've been crushing it since we changed it to this. Instead of just having like a 3-pillar
yeah,
pitch, do it in a time, right? You're kind of like just giving them an idea what the process will look like after they onboard. You're kind of future
yeah. Future
pacing them
facing, yeah,
basically. Yeah. So just have like the step one where you're doing, what it entails, very short, simple, and then what you the outcome is, what you're gonna get from it. Right? Same thing. Step two, do the same thing. The features and then the outcome, right? What you're gonna get from it. Same thing on the step three. Now, I would say 3 to 4 steps is good enough. You don't want too many stuff, like you said, right? Like it's just gonna confuse people. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Every single step that you go over, just make sure they understand it, right? They don't have any questions. If they do, make sure you address it, and then you move on to the next one. And then you just kind of just do just reiterate everything, and then drop the guarantee, drop the price. Pretty much done. Your pitch shouldn't take more than like 7, 8
yeah,
minutes.
yeah. And it's funny,
I would say,
yeah, even less, because I think it's funny that if you've done enough pre-call selling, if you sold the logic, if people understand the sales arguments, like by the time people get to our calls, they've seen a 30-minute free training. We've done our pre-call confirmation to, ask them where they're at, what they're struggling with, what have they read. We send all the assets like multiple times. In fact, the only problem with that system is we had a lead today. It was like, you sent me too much stuff, too much stuff. And the funny thing
yeah,
is, we're going to continue sending him 10 out of 10 free game, and he's going to book back in, and he's probably going to come and do business with us because that's just how the game goes.
yeah,
But yeah, like if you've done enough in the pre-call process, you are just an order taker. So I think the reason why the one pager works so well is because people know the outcome, people know the mechanism. Now you're just walking them through the logical steps. So hey, first we're going to onboard you, we're going to refine your offer, we're going to script out your top funnel offer and everything we're doing there. Next, we're going to build your assets. Then we're going to build your ads and we're going to test them. Once you've got a consistent ROAS, we're going to put more spend through it. After that, if you need a sales team, we'll help you out with it. Makes sense? Let's do it. Oh shit! All of a sudden, people just do handing your credit card over.
yes,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Second question: okay? First off, if you can break down all the parts of a sales call, and then if you could explain what is the number one part that you see closers and offer owners getting wrong and messing up. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So the parts of like the call is a discovery, obviously
Yeah,
discovery, pitch, and drop the price. And then if there's any objection, you do objection
yeah,
handling, right? Now, 80% of your call is in the discovery. Like that's the most important part, right? So if you do all the heavy lifting before the pitch, like it'll be a much easier sell. So in the discovery, the first thing you want to do is just connecting and then understand where they're
yeah.
at, like
Mm-hmm.
situational, and then go into like the problem, identifying the problem, and then go deeper into that. In fact, let me share
Decision tree.
the decision tree so you guys can see it as well. So this one,
Yeah,
right? So I'll just go over here in the notes part. Yeah, connecting situational, what they're doing right now to get to the outcome that they want. And then this is the big part here, problem mirroring, which is like just digging into the problem and then getting into like the pain, the emotional pain. And then depending on like what kind of offer you have, like if it's a B2C, you want to really rely on emotional stuff. Now, if it's a B2B, I like to still go into the emotional stuff because if you're a business making less than what 10 million a
yeah.
year,
Still
you're
B2C.
still kind of like,
Yeah,
yeah, the emotional stuff. And then also kind of like just get the logistical gap. how much you're making right now, how much they could be making with the right process or skill or whatever it is.
It's
right?
interesting you say that.
And then that,
Can I just mention something real quick? It's interesting you say that because that's just, I like to listen sometimes to experts speak about stuff because I just realized you do the same depth of discovery, problem interaction, everything that you do, B2C or B2B. It's just that some of the problems you focus on are slightly more logistical with B2B. That's all it is. And it's just rung
yeah,
true because when I was closing, well, I mean, I've only ever really closed B2B personally, actually. But when I used to close for the mortgage broker offer, the discovery section was like about 60-40% emotional and then logistical. And then it was like, you did like a emotion logistical sandwich, right? It was like, so what's got you coming to this call, man? X, Y, Z. Okay, how's that going for you, man? How's that affecting business? Okay, cool. How's that affecting life, man? Is that something you've been into work with? Boom, boom, boom. Then you go to the logistics. Okay, what is it you're missing specifically? Cool. How did it get that way? Cool. What's the outcome you're looking for? What happens if that doesn't happen? Yeah. And then you bring it back around to emotion, like, okay, cool. So you mentioned this. If you don't do anything about it, like, how does that feel to you? And then boom, you've got someone because most business owners, right? And this is really interesting thing. Most business owners have an element of type A or narcissism, right? They want to be in control. They want to think that they are above the emotional questions because they've seen the pictures themselves, but they still need it to do business.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
But yeah, carry on.
definitely.
You were talking about the decision tree.
And when I was like working for the fitness offer, it's like it's just
Yeah.
emotional, basically. Right. So problem bearing here, and then you want to do problem bearing our method because you want to kill all the other solution, especially DIY, like them thinking they can do it by
Yeah.
themselves. So you want to ask them, like,
Can you scroll on, zoom in
yeah,
on that so we can read that poem or give them a little breakdown of?
yeah, yeah. So like, why get some like our help instead of just figuring it out by yourself? Now they're gonna say, "Oh, it's not gonna work," or blah blah blah, whatever it is. It has to be negative,
Yeah.
right? If they say, "Oh, because you guys have done it, so you guys are good," like you guys can scale my business. That's not the answer that you want to get. You want to get something negative.
Yeah.
So you can be like, I mean, we're not that cool, but like for you though, like why can't you double down and do it by yourself?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And then they go into right. I always tell this to closer, right? You have to understand why you're asking certain questions so you know that you like if they skip it or they don't answer it the right way, you don't move forward with it. Like you have to re-ask in a different
Yeah.
way. Right? Yeah. Like very quickly, you go into the solution. I mean not quickly, but like this is a big part to I guess like understand where they're at, what they've tried, pre-handle any objection, and then ask them what their ideal solution would be like, what kind of help they need specifically. And then you want to future pace them, right? Emotionally, and if you're B2B, logistically as well, future pace. And then this is what Toko taught me when I was learning this framework years ago. You want to rip it away. He said that. I still remember. You want to rip it away and you go into the
You know what's
consequence.
so funny? It's
right?
so funny because Toko closed me, bro. Gosh,
Yeah.
it's a long time ago now, but Toko closed me. And I literally, the rest of it was a crap offer, bro. They did not do what they said they were going to do at all. But I remember he was like, yeah, so what's the goal? What's the goal? It's like, and I remember him being like, what happens if you don't do it? It's like, oh no, I'm tired now. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a sad.
Yeah, Togo's savage.
So yeah, you want to future pace them. They're on top of the mountain. They're like in that mindset of like, oh, this thing is happening, is great and whatever. And then you rip it
Yeah.
away. Well, how far are you living that life? And they're like, well, that's the top of the mountain, right? Like life at the end of the day is always black and white. Either it happens or it don't, right? Let's think about it. What happens if, things don't change the next 4 to 6 months? And then now you're like serious and then you go deep, deep, deep. Then the consequence part, I like to ask if they're willing to settle for that life, that nothing happens. And then my last question before the pitch is if they're committed to making a change. And if you do a great job in the discovery, you're going to get people will say like, yes, I'm committed to making a change.
Yeah.
And then you for the solution. Now, this is something I recently just implemented. Well, not recently, but I didn't do it when I first started. But instead of telling them like, hey, I'm going to go into the pitch, you basically just tell them like, hey, based on our discussion, we can definitely help you. Would you like me to go over everything? Bro, when I did this with the affiliate marketing offer, because the discovery was solid, people were like, yes, please share with me. They're like begging you to share. It's
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah,
bro. It's crazy. So such a like powerful question. Would you like me to go over how we can help you live that life, that dream life, and not live like what their current situation
mm,
is? And then to the
yeah,
pitch, right? Now, I want to go a little bit more into the discovery. What people, at least for myself and most of the closers that, you know, we train, the one part that people struggle with the most is, well, two things. The first part is problem area. Problem area is probably the hardest. This is the part I struggled with the most because sometimes people have too many different problems, and then it's just early in the call, right? Like you're just, getting like, getting to know the other
yeah,
person and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff. You're scared to ask like to dig deeper and all that. So yeah, this part is definitely the hardest for me and for a lot of people. So I would say just focus on like one problem and just lean into
yeah,
that. Don't focus on 5, 10 different problems. They might have 5, 10. Find the one that's most important to
yeah.
them, that's affecting
The
them,
most.
and let's just
I-
go
I'll
deep
I'll
into
say
it.
this
Yeah.
literally one thing that, because again with the mortgage broker offer that was closed on ages ago, because there was so many different parts of the problem that were solved with that. Like we helped them with their onboarding and delivery, and then ads and then funnels, and then their top funnel offer, and all. Before I knew what a top funnel offer was, that's basically what we were doing. One question I
Yeah.
used to ask them is like, okay, cool. If you could walk away from this call with one problem solved, what would change your life the most? That would normally give me the very clear what they wanted. And the thing is, and I think this is something to touch on as well, is that as a closer, you have to have see through smoke and mirrors as well, because people will throw you in and run around. Transparent, they will tell you something's the main problem and it's actually something else. They'll say, hey man, yeah, my offer's just not, it's not doing well, and really their biggest problem is they're scared to market themselves because they don't think they can deliver, right? They don't have a process to deliver. A lot of stuff happens to kind of like, I always say like a closer's job is you're a therapist who collects cash at the end of your conversation. You know what I mean?
What?
You got to be able to
Yeah,
read between the
100%.
lines and kind of understand where people are at. But yeah, super cool, man.
Yeah. It's sometimes just like, be completely upfront with them and just because I've had people like annoyed that I was asking these questions, especially in the fitness
Yeah,
offer. And I just told them like the reason why I asked is because I care. Like I'm on your
yeah,
team, right? The reason why we ask these important questions is because unlike other trainers, because again, you want to burn the bridges, right? Unlike other trainers, we actually care about you. And let's just say you fall off track or anything, guess who's going to keep you accountable? Guess who's going to remind you of all these goals and pain and all that kind of
yeah,
stuff? It's going to be us because right? Sometimes you just need to tell them that you care for them and you want to see them win,
yeah,
or you're on the same team as
yeah.
them to get them to open.
And okay,
So
so
yeah,
we got a couple minutes, right? Because I think we're gonna make this a quick one. We'll do part 2 of the decision tree, bro. And then actually we'll do the part 2 tomorrow, and then we'll do a role play the day after, where you can close me on the
yeah,
decision tree. I think that'll be good, really good. How do you deal with non-specific prospects? So if someone says, let's say it's a B2C content agency, I'll teach you to build a content agency. Let's say that's the offer. So yeah, no, I'm just want to make more money. They're like, why? It's like, oh well, just what I want to do. Like, how do you uncover there? Because that, to me, anyway, when I hear answers like that, I'm like, that's just someone protecting their ego. You know what I mean? Like, how do you
yeah,
bypass that?
yeah, yeah. I would say two things, right? Well, it depends on like if they're just not present in the call, they're like busy, they're doing something else, or if they're like you said, they're protecting their ego, right? So if they're protecting their ego, like what you can do is just to be upfront, like, hey man, I'm on your team, like I want to win, but I need to get like clear answers from you, kind of thing. So that's what I would do. If they're not present, if they're like just giving like very big answer, we just do like some sort of pattern interrupt. So like what my mentor told me, Gentry, it's an amazing mentor by the way.
Yeah,
He gave me this one line and I've used it so many times. Just be like, yo, Jacob, it seems like you're more interested in having a root canal right now. Like, what's going on?
yeah.
You know?
Okay,
And then just laugh or lighten the mood. That kind of like interrupts everything. So now they're like, okay, serious.
right.
Right. And another thing, like I see most closers, one mistake that they make is they just accept answers. Right. Well, how you struggling with this? Oh, a couple of months. And then they move on. A couple months can mean 2 months, can mean three
Yeah,
months,
yeah,
right? It's not right? So you want to be very specific. So the more you kind of like just let that go by, like let them give vague
Yeah.
answers, the more they do it. So early in the call, you want to kind of just be specific. You want to call them out when they're giving vague answers, and you're just that like I'm not going to accept vague
Yeah.
answers.
And you know, one framework that I had that worked really well as well for vague answers, but for people who are protecting their ego, or actually even people who are trying to ego you in sales call because they're trying to head frame back, is I literally asked them, as you said, be upfront. It's like, hey man, you booked this call because you wanted this outcome.
Yeah.
What do you want? What are you hoping for here? Because again,
All of
it's a pattern interrupt. And I think a lot of closers, what they do, and this is a real gem. I really hope this is a gem, and you tell me if I'm wrong. I think a lot of people, they accept that they are not in control, if that makes sense. And then like you
yeah.
will close, cool, you might close at 20% because 20% you'll lose the laydowns and they come to you already know, like, and trust in your solution. But then when someone comes and offers a bit of pushback, you completely fold and you have nothing, you have no backbone, nothing to stand on, and therefore you are missing out not only on sales, but you're missing out on helping those people, which I think is just as impactful, personally.
Yeah. 100%. And I feel like the worst place to be in a call is when you're like stepping on like eggshells, right? Like you're just tiptoeing your way
Yeah.
through. You kind of want to ask this question, but you're kind of scared. Like if you want to go and ask that question, you just gotta
Yeah.
ask. Just don't. And here's the thing: there's gonna be pushbacks. There's gonna be prospects where they're like, you know what, I don't want to do this call, and then they end the
Man,
call. But hey, I can get.
do you remember
You're gonna close more
yeah, people doing that.
by doing.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say before we hop into the next call, do you remember when we had that
Yeah.
prospect a few months ago? Was it you or was it Tolko they spoke to? And they got so rude, bro. They got irate. Do you remember?
Can't remember for answer.
Yeah, no. This was for info launch.
Oh, yeah. It was me. Yeah. This one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, but this one guy was just like, he's crazy. Like, I was just asking him
What's
like
your offer, right?
basic questions.
So, what's your offer? It's like, I don't have an offer. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the moral of the story is use a decision tree. God damn it, use a pitch deck. Use a 1-page pitch deck. Don't have a 20-page slideshow. No one remembers what you're talking about. And be brave, man. Be brave. I think the easiest way to get better at closing is to ask the hard questions over and over and over and over again until they no longer feel hard.
Yeah. And just be you, you know? And that's why I tell closers, like, yeah, you want to use this framework and all that stuff, but in your own way. If there's any word, any like phrase or reframes that doesn't sit with you, like, don't use it. Right. So, yeah, cool. We got a meeting, gotta hop off. But yeah, quick little sales training for you guys. We'll do more of this.